Hello photographers, today we're going to meet the artist Shirin Neshat. We are going to brainstorm some pieces of literature that we want to then combine with a photograph of our choosing.
For the first time, I felt that my freedom in this country was being jeopardized, and that I felt that I really needed to make a work that expressed an immigrant's perspective about America. My name is Shirin Neshat, and we're at the Broad Museum in Los Angeles. I am born in Iran, in the small city of Qazvin. I immigrated to the United States in about 1975. Today, I live and work in New York. The title, I Will Greet the Sun Again, is the title of a poem by a very well-known Iranian poet called Furuq Farrokhzad. In Farsi is Be Aftab Salami Dobare Khaham Dad. And it's a poet that I have repeatedly used in my work as inscription over the photographic work, and as a woman that I've really idealized for a long time. But I think the meaning of it is something about the fact that for the longest time since I arrived in this country, I have not returned to Los Angeles with an exhibition in this magnitude to the Iranian community. It's almost like I'm looking for sunshine again.
روی خواب مارمولک کجا بود؟
روی دیوار.
چه رنگی بود؟
رنگ دیوار.
I'm very interested in literature and poetic language because I'm very Iranian, and I think in our culture, for a lot of people, that's how they deal with the world. That's how they cope with a lot of the issues that they face as human beings. Poetry, for a lot of us, it's more a kind of form of philosophy. It's like living in our imagination. It's very profound. But the narratives, I think a lot of them are based in some of the issues and characters that I really identify with. Much of the concepts and narratives are about my own life and some of the issues that I like to frame. And then the poetic language is introduced to it as a way of shaping it, as a way of expressing the narrative, if that makes sense. Every work, whether it's photographic or video, there's always this element of poetry, allegory, and that's for sure because I'm very Iranian.
Today's learning target is I can combine text and photography to create a message about myself. Hello photographers and writers, today you have two tasks. Your first task is to head on over to the Seesaw template. You're going to start by researching. You're researching different words and text and different phrases that you might put on top of your photograph next week. Ideas for your text over here. All choices that you make must be school appropriate. So maybe you're researching your favorite song lyrics. Maybe there's some fun slogans that you really like. Poetry, words that give you positive energy. Maybe it's quotes from your favorite movies, books, TV shows, passages from your favorite books, or maybe even you're telling us a story about an event in your life. I have a few options for your text today. Maybe you are writing out singular words that don't go together, or you can write words that go together. So in order to understand your artwork, you're supposed to be reading through. So similar to what Shirin Neshat did, where she wrote out poems. So in order to understand the work, you would have to read through the poem. It's up to you to make that call. If you need extra space, there's extra space on slide 2 to write more. You're also welcome to duplicate a page. Here is where you're going to put your photograph. Maybe you're doing a portrait of yourself. Maybe you're doing a picture of your friend. Make sure you get their permission. Maybe you're taking a picture of your family member, again, with their permission. Your hands or your arm or maybe your shoes. Or maybe you're proposing an idea to your art teacher. Today, you should be taking a brand new picture. We're going to talk about a couple photography tricks to think about as you're posing and getting your shot set up today. If you have a photograph, an old photograph that you like to use, make sure it's been taken by you. It's really important that as photographers, you're taking your own content. You're not using someone else's, because that's a whole part of the artistry today is you're doing a photograph and you're also adding on the literature. Just like we did with the designs for the Silhouette project, you're going to head on over. You have a few options. You can edit to add on a filter. I think I want to kind of do what Shirin Neshat was doing and do black and white. You can also head over to this tool right here that kind of looks like a sun. Once you tap on this sun, there's a whole lot of different options. I would stray away from doing the auto because you don't have as much control over that. But you can start scrolling through and you see there's a whole bunch of different options. I would recommend playing with the brightness, the contrast. When it comes to your brightness, lower and raise your brightness. So I'm in a corner of the room right now that tends to be a little dark, so I automatically know I'm gonna have to raise the brightness a bit. And when you have the contrast, it basically boosts, this is a word that we used last week, right? It's putting two things that are very different next to each other. So if you boost the contrast, it's going to really have the blackest blacks, the lightest lights. It's going to create the most difference between the two. If you lower the contrast, I'm going to get a lot of those grays, those in-betweens, the subtle differences in movement between the two. I think I'm going to keep my contrast as it is. I like how it was. Don't forget, you can always crop your filter by tapping the option on the bottom. I'm kind of bothered by this LY from the poster. Let me see if I can crop it. Photographers do this all the time where they go back and forth to try and debate what the best shot is. You're always welcome to ask your teachers or peers for help. Once you have your photograph how you like it, you're going to click done. And it'll save.